Is lobbyists actually pay sometimes basically people that are unemployed or homeless people stand in line for them in the lobby while they're in a restaurant across the way having drinks. And then that person calls them and says, your turn is coming up to enter the room. They swaps places. And of course, they pay the gentleman a fee for standing there for 3 hours. But this is how America works. So when we get into FINC and digital democracy, we're really flipping the tables over. We're really, and that's what people need to understand is we can really change things significantly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is in some ways it is kind of simple. It's like because some people they're like, well, how do you overpower like the raising millions of dollars, all this stuff? It's like, yeah, but if you think about it, these candidates they need to raise millions. Why? It's really to advertise themselves to the voters, so the voters know that they exist, so that they ultimately vote for them. But if we're building one unified system that every citizen knows, this is where I see my menu. Like you go to a restaurant, you see all your choices, and then you can make a selection. If everyone sees all their choices, every candidate, this is where I stand, this is my information, here's some videos, here's my website, here's my history, then you don't need to raise as much money. Like this is the way to slowly move away that you don't need to raise millions of dollars. Voters are going to know you exist because we have one system of democracy that all Americans know. You go to digital democracy, you see all your choices, and then you make your best selection for yourself. And so, yeah, there's other layers that also help contribute to cutting out the money, because it's not only that, but then as we add the conflict of interest trackers, then not only does everyone have a voice regardless of their spending, but then those that are taking that kind of conflict of interest money, it's not going to look so good. Now, the more transparent we can make it, that you look at your candidate and like they talk very great about themselves, but then you get the report card and it shows they take X millions of dollars from certain industries that they are claiming that they're going to fix. So to your point, it totally flips the whole system upside down, completely empowers the American people. It's not up to this establishment media. It's not up to the big donors. One system gives every candidate the visibility, and then it's really up to the candidates to prove they are the best choice for the voter. And that's how it should have always been. It should always be about you proving why you deserve the vote over your opponents, basically.
Right. And they have that choice. So corporate America does it all the time. They have a board that decides on who's the best CEO, right? They go through an entire vetting system. They look at his history. They look at his actions. They look at who he's friends with, right? And then they decide. What's important here to remember is he may not be the best guy for the job. They tried, though. But then he's also ousted after 2 or 3 years. Generally, they give him 2 or 3 years. But if he's really not meeting the grade, they so you can look at that from like General Electric. They went from the one guy, Jack Welch, who is revered, to Jeffrey Imlet, who really didn't hold up his end of the bargain. And then came another guy who really wasn't ready for the job. But then came this guy now, and the stock has soared to over $300 a share because so yeah, there's gonna be some false starts. There's gonna be some bad picks. But you're really, like you call it, the lens is there now. The American people are the corporate board picking their CEOs. And that's entirely different than what's happening, because what's happening now is, like you said, they're either picking red or blue. Red or blue is picking red. So the hierarchy, the curia, if you will, is picking red or blue, their candidates. And then and the American people have no say in the matter, and then it becomes a team sport. I did have a guy, he owned a trucking company. I was out in front of the DMV. We were friends. I was his pest control guy. So I go to his office. I'd see him in this giant office. He had a big picture of Ronald Reagan behind his desk. He probably was a donor. He was shaking Ronald Reagan's hand. And he was my friend. He wouldn't even sign I even said signing my signature to be on the ballot only gets me on the ballot. This is not a vote for me. He said he literally, he's an educated man. I'm going to use the accent just because he was a Southern guy. He said, I got to stick with my team. He would have never said no to me under any, if I asked him to buy 100 candy bars for the Boy Scouts, he would have bought them in cash. But this was different to him. This was red or blue. This was black or white. And we had always, I say, I understand. And I perfectly do understand, because that's the way it is in America. But I even said, just let you know, this is not a vote for me. This is not election day. I'm just trying to get on the ballot. And he just said, it's good to see you, son. And he walked back. and it was, And I knew it was him because he drove this giant Cadillac and he didn't know how to freaking drive it because he was so old. And I thought he was going to crash into the building. And I swore it was him because I would see that same Cadillac in his parking lot when I would go to his office. And I knew he was there. So I would go head that to that wing because I like to talk to him for a minute. But it was just funny the way he would have never said no to any other request I had for him. He would never said no to any other, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. And like that is the biggest challenge in what we're doing right now. Like talking to citizens, especially like so many people are freaking out about Trump and like, so like, oh, don't shake up the Democrats. Don't point on anything bad on them. We just need to work on Trump. We have to get Trump out. Like you guys have been talking about that for like 13 plus years. It's not working. He got reelected again, this and that. Like we need change right now. Both sides have horrible approval ratings. Like it's too late. The cat's out of the bag. We can't just pretend that Democrats are doing well. Like we know that people are flocking out of it, or people are becoming independent. The registering is independent. Like all the stats are showing people are leaving these parties. But yeah, people are just so stuck in the conditioning. It's generational. Like the younger you are, the more you remember most of your life the system not working for you. Where there was a time when it wasn't that bad. Now it's just got last decade or two or more gotten a lot worse. But it's that conditioning, like you're saying, and like the team loyalty. It's all about the team loyalty, and that's what we need to break out of.
And like you said, you think about Trump for 13 years, he actually came back from the dead. I mean, that's never happened before. No other person has ever come back and run after losing. Generally, you're labeled a loser, and that's it. But this is different because, like you said, it's like the choices were so bad that it's better the devil we know. It's the only thing we have. At least we know what this guy is. The other lady wasn't even telling us if she had any intention of even waking up in the morning for work. So, I mean, it was sad to see that happen. We put ourselves in this own spiral. And now, if you ask anybody, do you have any buyer's remorse? No, and you ask why, and they have no idea why. But you can't concede an inch. I can't say, I do say here and there, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Here and there, Trump gets something right. I say it when I see it. But if you ask anybody else, I mean, first of all, I think if the Democrats in the room, they just want to jump across the table and choke me.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, it's not Trump. So let's just talk about what's not Trump. Okay, we had the Affordable Care Act, right? They took away the subsidy, the enhanced subsidy, right? Literally, a banner moment in history happened. A discharge petition happened in the House because the House Speaker could say, no, this isn't going on the floor. Then you need an enormous amount of votes, which means it's a bipartisan vote to literally override the House Speaker's decision. And so it happened. They overrid the House Speaker's decision and they voted on the enhanced subsidy. But now it's dithering in the Senate for over a year. It's not Trump. We have surrendered the spotlight to Trump. It's not him that's ambushing the ACA's enhanced subsidy. It's the Senate now that can't get their shit together. They said there's other things we need to talk about. Just bring the subsidy back for now and then talk about them. That was the argument. And it's not happening. And so let's just I went on another tangent, but the fact of the matter is, well, we keep making everything about Trump. The No King's Day was not Trump. We made it about Trump. It was about government overreach.
Right.
We laser focused on Trump. The more we laser focus on Trump, the more the fact of the matter is, the more the inmates are running the asylum even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about so far what's live now. I want to talk about that because, like you said, you're getting there. You've gotten there a lot. So right now, candidate profile, civic tags, candidate discovery, citizen priority survey, citizen Q&A, micro actions. Just go down the list of all those. Just tell me about each, or I can read them off to you and ask you about them if you want.
Well, let me rattle some off and then we can see what I missed. But yeah, so the big ones kind of in the big order is so candidate discovery. So people can now go into our system. I mean, I have to preface, like, right now we're at this specific, like, chicken or the eggs situation that we're trying to get candidates to create their profiles. And so citizens that are coming in, there is a search system. It's a matter about how many candidates are on here using their own profiles. Because also another distinction is there's a difference between a profile and a report card. So report cards are going to be more of phase 2. That's where you actually could pull their fundraising sources, where's their conflicts of interest, how much do they break their promises. That's the report card. That's going to take a bit more time and support. We need a lot of citizen support before that. Right now, we have profiles where a candidate could create a profile, differentiate themselves. This is where I stand on issues. Citizens can publicly ask questions and the candidate can respond publicly so that people can see, basically building their own frequently asked questions. And the profile system just showcases a candidate in a different way, that it's not just the typical, like, what party are you? It's, yes, you filed as this party, but then there's the whole tagging system. So long story short, right now we did pull all the names of Nevada candidates have unclaimed profiles. So you can see the different names of candidates and some of their basic information. The key is getting more and more of them to claim their profile, which means a candidate actually logs into their profile, starts setting up their tags, create their own bio. So all the features are there in what I'm discussing, and now it's more about getting them to start using it. And so right now there's the tagging system, like I explained. There's advocacy tags, about me tags, and then political lens tags. And the lens tags are the ones where, like, I file as a Republican, but I'm a libertarian, or I'm a progressive, or I'm a democratic capitalist. Like, whatever kind of framing they want to use is like their own identity politically. So tagging in there, they could list out their issues their main top 5 issues that they stand for. It has a character limit, so they could only put like 1 or 2 sentences. What is the issue you're addressing, and how do you plan to solve it? What's the outcome that you're looking for? So stuff like that is already implemented. And then there's a democracy section where it's asking, like, what kind of reforms are you open to? So, like, are they open to ranked choice voting and other kind of flexible voting methods? Are they willing to get money out of politics and overcome that influence? So a couple, like, specific questions that we kind of stick them in, and, like, you don't have to answer it, but it's gonna say that you purposely basically skipped the answer as a candidate. And so that's in there. And then all this has, like, you could snapshot it and share it outside of FINC. Like, the tags and stuff is shareable. And then so the system there. Oh, the other big feature that's about to gain a lot of popularity, this is actually a good selling point for a lot of the candidates, is candidate clusters. So there's a lot of different practicality to it, but however a candidate or a bunch of candidates want to identify as a grouping, we call it candidate clusters. It could be anything from, like, a party, an unofficial party. It could be a candidate coalition, like the Democratic Socialists of America. They're not a party, but they have certain candidates that they identify as a grouping. So any way that a group of candidates want to identify themselves, we're building candidate clusters. So the practical idea of it is, like, I met a couple candidates that are in Nevada, CD2, Congressional District 2. So there's actually 5 candidates that are trying to work. Actually, they're directly competing with each other. They're all Democrats, but the 5 of them actually want to overcome. There's 2 establishment candidates, and then these 5 candidates are grassroots. They want to work together to lift the 5 of them up so that they actually have a chance and have a voice. And then whoever has the most traction before the election, 4 of them are actually going to drop out and give their support to the most popular of the 5. And so they're going to be building a candidate cluster on our system, so they could all advertise, like, hey, go to our cluster page. So you could go there, you would see these 5 candidates, they're all running for the same seat, but they have a pact together that once America tells them which one they like the most, the 4 of them are going to drop out and 1 of them is going to move forward against the establishment choices. So the clustering, there's a lot of practical ways of applying it. Even like Forward Party, I mean, like, in some states they're considered a party. Sometimes they have to run as independent. No matter what, they could group themselves in this cluster. And so in certain they could all show these are everyone in the country that are Forward Party, but in these states, it's a party. In these states, we're just on the ballot as independent, yada. So it allows to, like, all the hurdles that candidates have. We're trying to, like, like kind of separate like those hurdles in the old world, but then we're going to allow more fluidity for the new world, and both are compatible within the profile system. So clusters are built in already. They're ready they've launched. And then for all of this, it's going to be like healthy data tracking. So candidates will be able to see which tags do Americans like the advocacy tags, like, oh, clean energy gets a lot of traction, or education gets a lot of traction, or libertarian or progressive gets a lot of traction. So we're gathering, as this builds up, we're going to be gathering data to say in this district, they care about these tags, which essentially is certain issues, certain political identities, beyond just two parties. So part of the positive on the citizen side is like, it's a way that like, for if citizens care about a certain issue, they could bring their support on a tag, and then there could be different candidates that identify with that tag, and you just supporting the tag itself helps lift everyone, all the candidates that have that tag on their profile. And then it also tells good candidates they're going to get this data that, hey, America wants this issue. This is what they're gravitating towards. So it actually helps define where candidates should focus their priorities. So that's the candidate the tagging tracking. And then also we're doing an open-ended survey system. So when a citizen first adds their name on our hub, we ask 3 main questions. It's like, what's the number one issue in your community right now? If your candidate could just do one thing, what would it be? And then I forgot a third one about like one thing you would change. So it's open-ended. You can write in whatever you want. And then we're using